Our next project here combines a little bit of Illustrator and Photoshop together. This is the Create a Death Goddess inspired by Mexico's Day of the Dead. So we'll do a little bit of looking at Day of the Dead stuff, but now when you want to get into the actual project, this is kind of an example of what it would look like. The first step is to go into your folder, open that up. Once you get into your folder, you're going to want to make a new folder inside your folder. So find your way to your folder. Give you an example here. So you're going to go into a folder, you're going to go into your Graphics 2 folder, and in here you have to right click and make a new folder. This new folder should have your name, and then it should say Pics for Day of Dead. Okay? And then in there, this is what you're going to look for. Go online, I recommend using Google. The first thing you're going to look up is black and white flowers. Go to Images, go to Search Tools, make sure that the sizes are above 800 by 600 or 1024 at least. And then when you get up here, when you first look up the images, you are going to see drawings pop up. Even if I do any size, you see up here it says drawings, or you could type in black and white drawings. And when those come up, again, same thing. What you're going to do is you're going to take a few of these. So I'm going to just click a couple of them. I'm going to grab this one, I'll say View Image, and then what I want you to do is click, drag, and drop that into that folder. Alright, so you'll do that with a couple of them. I'm just going to grab a few here real fast. I didn't really examine all of these quite yet, but alright, so let's just say it's like that. All black and white. Alright, so I got those. The next thing you're going to grab. You're going to look up Day of the Dead designs, and you're going to find some skulls. And they should be sort of face first, unless the person's face that you're picking is angled. So I'm going to take a few of, and again, your best bet when you find these, let's see if there's one here. You can even do Day of the Dead skull designs. There you go. Those are a little better. Then you can find different skulls. Then you're going to hit View Image. Some of them are going to be blocked, so keep looking until you find one that's not blocked. It's okay if they are in color. That is alright. Like this one's fine. Of course they're all blocked for me right now. How about this one? Okay. And I'm going to drag this in there also. What else do we need? We need some black and white swirls. So you can look through some black and white swirls and find the ones that you want. So maybe I'll grab these and click View Image. And then I'm going to take these and I'm going to pull those in there also. And then you have to find the picture of the person that you want to use. So it doesn't matter, black or white, doesn't make a difference. If it's a black or white photograph or a color photograph, I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to hit View Image on this. Now once we've got that, I'm going to drag that over as well. And then we're going to click, drag, and select all of these pictures. Right click, open with Photoshop. It's going to open them all up and tab them to each other at the top. Okay, then up across the top here, you can arrange the documents so you can see them all. I'm going to go to Window, Workspace, Essentials, Default, so everything snaps back where it should be. I'm going to close the internet so you don't get confused. Go to File, go to New. You're going to make a brand new file for this that's going to be 8.5 by 11 inches. Make sure it's inches. 300 for the pixels, RGB and white. You're going to hit OK. Pull it apart. And then you're going to start to move these pieces in. The first piece is going to be take the Move tool and move in the color photograph or the black and white photograph of the person that you're doing. Once you have that, you can close out of the original. And then you must do a Command T, hold Shift and Option, enlarge it so it fills up most of the page. Right to about there is good. Alright, now from there you're going to take your Layers panel, move it up. We're going to do a couple of things to this. First we need to get rid of the outside of him. So I'm going to try the Quick Select or the Magic Wand tool here and see if it lets us select the outside edge of him. Now there's a lot of red in this picture, so I did a pretty good job, not great. There are some spots that need to be fixed. So make sure your cutout is good. Get in here, do a little subtraction in certain areas to make sure it's a good cutout. Subtraction again, because you might need some of In this case he has a crown on, but most pictures will not have a crown, but they will have some kind of hair. Make sure the cutout's good. The better you make the cutouts, the better your whole thing will be. Almost done. Okay, and then you're going to hit delete. Get rid of that piece. Then we're going to go to image adjustments, and we're going to go to desaturate. We're going to take out all the color. And once we make it black and white like that by desaturating it, we're going to go to image adjustments and levels. We're going to pump up the black by pulling it to the right a little bit, and then we're going to pull up the white from here on this side all the way in. Like that, really brighten it up. Okay? And then from there we're going to go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. After we've gone to Gaussian blur, we're going to up that a bit so it kind of blurs it out just like that. You can see it sort of blurring it out. I would go to about a 7 or 8 or 9 depending on your image. And then from there you are going to go to image adjustments and threshold. It's going to break it up all into this black and white kind of stencil looking thing. Now you can mess with the threshold level to decide how much or how little you need to keep it looking like Biggie, pretty much. Okay? From there is good. Now you really only need the head in this case. I'll leave a little bit of the neck and the shoulders for now, but if yours just has a head, that's fine also. Now you'll see that we lost a little bit of the crown, but I think that's actually going to be okay in our case. I'm going to take now the brush tool with white, so change your color to white. You can hit the X button to flip the black and white on your keyboard. And you're going to use your brush. You can change the size of your brush. And you're going to go in here and you're going to get rid of, by actually just painting over it with white, most of the crown. Okay, I'm going to leave some of the crown just to kind of give you an idea, I guess, of what we're going to do. But I'm going to get rid of maybe some of it. We really don't need all of it. We're going to add a lot of these kind of flowers that were on the original, if you remember from this that we looked at. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. Now, one thing we are also going to do, and you'll notice that this one from the internet here is exactly the same on both sides. If you divide it down the middle, it's exactly the same. So we're going to do a very similar thing. You know what? I am going to get rid of the crown. Okay, then from there we're going to take the rectangular marquee tool, and we are going to take half of him by clicking and dragging and getting up to half of his nose right about there. Alright, and then I'm going to let go. Now, from there what I would like to do is right click. Remember, I'm on layer 1. We're going to do layer via copy. We're going to hide the original. So now we have half of Biggie's face on this side. Now, before we do anything else, we have to make sure that these lines, the smoother that these lines are, the better this whole thing is going to look. So what I would recommend doing is taking your lasso tool, and if there's any areas that you think should remain black, you can select them, take your brush, choose black, and fill them in. If there's any areas that you think should be more white, for example, like here, I can make this smoother by making a selection, right? And then using a brush with white to fill it in. Right? So it becomes a smoother edge. So I want you to try to do that for a lot of the pieces. I want you to smooth them out. Use your brush, fill them in with white. Get as nice and smooth as you possibly can on a lot of these. I'm going to do just a few more real quick, just to kind of get, and you could hold shift and add as many as you'd like. Alright, but you get the idea. The more you do, the smoother it'll look, the better it will look, so please make things as smooth as possible on this. Alright, once you have that done, now you're going to go into those other images that you opened up. You're going to grab them, take the move tool, and drag and drop them on. Once they're on here, I'm going to close out of the old one. Now that we have this on here, what we are going to do is take the magic wand tool, select the white portions of these images that you bring in, right click and do similar. and then hit delete. Now once those are deleted, you have a decision to make. Right now we're only going to work on half of the body, and then we're going to copy it later. So we're going to design something, as you can see on the original here. Remember all of the flowers and images and almost like fire and feathers and all kinds of swirls and stuff that are happening on the edge. So you're going to take this. You remember you can do Command T, resize, you can rotate, you can move them, and they're almost going to be made to look as though if they're coming out of his head. Now you'll notice that there are some little specks here, right, that are coming up. I'm going to take that, that's the flower up top, layer 3. I'm going to pull it underneath so it disappears like that. Now, if you notice that there is a little bit of white up here on this original one, we could also use the eraser tool to kind of erase some of those pixels. Here's what it actually looks like if you look at it from far away without the white background. You see this? This is layer 2, and it has some white around it. So I can actually get rid of that with the magic wand tool. Hit delete. There we go. So now here's layer 3. If I want to name it flower, I can name it flower so you know what it is. And I'm going to start copying these and using them in different parts of Biggie. Now, it's okay if it goes across this half. We'll delete it later. But I'm going to take a couple of copies of these, different sizes, different rotations, and move them and make them a part of what's going on with him, okay? Alright, some of them will be hidden more, some of them will stick out. I could even take some, copy them, make them smaller, right? And then I could move them and put them on top, and they will show up on his face in some way. That's totally fine to do as well. If you look in this one, for example, you'll see a lot of dots and swirls and different shapes within the actual face, and especially when you start going online and you look at some of these kind of things, like this one, you'll notice all of the dots and swirls and all that kind of stuff. Okay, now from there we can begin to add things like dots and triangles, circles and things, simply by going to the brush tool, choosing a brush, and then we can click with black, of course. And you can stay on any of the layers, really, it doesn't matter, or you can make a brand new layer, call it dots and lines or something, and then you can begin to draw. I'm going to zoom out so I can see a little better. You can draw, and you can do different sizes. Get the idea? You can kind of draw these designs on the face. I'm going to find a few more that we opened before, like the swirls here, which were in the background. This one came up as a GIF, so if it comes up as a GIF, be careful, just go to Mode and RGB, and now I can take this whole thing, drag it on. Now once it's on here, I'm going to want to get rid of the white, so I'm going to click on the white here. Or, matter of fact, better yet, I can grab the black, right-click and do similar, so it grabs all the black, and then right-click, layer via copy. And now just the black is on layer 4, I can get rid of layer 3. So now I can take this, and it becomes something else that I can use. Now that might be too much here, so I'm going to take one of these selection tools and get rid of this portion of it, hit delete. Alright, so this one right here, Command T, rotate, can kind of move, and again, the angle, the look of it is totally up to you. I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to drop it behind everything else that I've done. Right now, some of these, you're going to notice they have, you might want to keep some of the black. So like this one, see, we kind of put it like here. Now you'll notice that when I do that, it overlaps, right? So what you could do is you could go back into any one of these ones with the flower, and you can select the interior pieces, and you can give them white. Okay, so I could just fill this with white, and if you fill it with white, matter of fact, you know what? When you bring in the original flowers, it's my mistake. When you bring in these original flowers from here, like this one from before, I had gotten rid of the white from them. But really, I shouldn't have done that because that's actually going to just annoy us more. So, my mistake, drag them back in, leave the white that's around it, start to resize them like we did before, put them in different spots, copy them like we talked about, do different sizes with Command T, different rotations, all the same things we already talked about. copy them. Okay. Once you have those done, just like that, now when you take those swirls and you put them underneath, they don't interfere. You see that? They don't get caught up, but don't let anything touch the edge of the page. So matter of fact, this one too, move that in. Don't let anything touch the exact edge of the page because we're not going to want that later. So we're taking this one, layer 4, we're copying it, we're rotating it just like we did with the flower. We can do a few of these. You can do different sizes, different rotations, just like before. I'll thin up that one. Put that one there. And then last but not least, we have this flower, which I could pull in, do Command T, resize one more time, take the magic wand tool, get rid of the white, hit delete. I'll leave the white on the inside of it just in case we need it like before. And then you can move this. Now this maybe what I'll do is I'll make one big one, rotate it a little bit, and have it sticking out of this top piece. Alright, and then I'll take another one of those, make it smaller, rotate it, have it sticking out of like this one. Like right there is pretty cool. And I can even take one, copy it, bring it to the very top of the stack, and have it on him. Maybe like, I don't know, rotated and put in here or something. See that right there? And if I don't want the stem on it, I could simply get rid of the stem, you know, with a selection of some kind like this. Hit delete, go in, and just make sure you get rid of any parts that you don't want. Alright, so that looks nice and clean. On Biggie himself, you'll notice that there's a couple of spots like here and here. If you do want to fill them in with black, go to his original layer, use a brush, use black, make it smaller, get in here, and kind of fill those up as best you can. Okay, we have most of the pieces on here are looking pretty good right now. You'll notice that there are a couple of pieces here that we weren't able to quite do. So what I would recommend is taking them from the skull, the actual pieces, and then putting them on. So for example here I could select just the mouth area like that, take the move tool, copy and drag it, and then once it's on here, you know, I'm going to go into it from here and just use the magic wand tool, select these particular pieces, hit delete. I might use some other selection tools or eraser tools to get rid of all of this extra junk that you simply don't need. Okay, so you're going to get rid of all those pieces. So this is the Photoshop portion of the project, and when you're done, you're going to move on to the Illustrator portion, which will be in the next video. Just like that. Okay, so then you're going to take this, move it, and it's going to be about half. Now you can enlarge this, you can right click and warp it. When you warp it, there's some custom warps up here like bulge, which might be more like what you're thinking, and then you can switch from there to scale and just scale it. There's a few options. When you get to these, you can ask me, I can kind of help you out a little bit, but this is just, you kind of eyeball it. Whatever you think is going to work, that's what you do. I'm going to kind of line it up with that line a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to go back to here and get rid of, I'll leave that like that. Now, remember how we said a few pieces go over to the side. Now there's other little details and things, little dots, little triangles, all sorts of things that you could add back into his face, or even on top of some of the black areas of his face. You can add other pieces, okay? Other swirls and designs. Once you have this, I'm going to close this up. This is the file that obviously you have to do a file save as. Make sure you save this back to that same folder, so make sure you find your way back to here, back to the same folder, right? And then save it in here with your name, whatever your name is, and then this should be Day of the Dead, just like that, and then you're going to hit save to save it in there. Alright, last piece before we move on to the Illustrator one is we are going to take all of these layers from the top all the way to the bottom. I'm going to hold shift and grab them all just like that. Then I'm going to go to layer, new, and group from layers. I'm going to hit OK. There's the group all organized. We're going to take that group, drag it down, copy it, right click, and merge that group together. Once you've done that, all you're going to do is take a rectangular marquee tool. You're going to start right on the edge of the black right here at the bottom, drag all the way up to the top, and hit delete. Just like that. That's it. I hid this middle one, I went to this one, I made the selection, and I did that. Then I'm going to make sure to save. So the next video, we're going to take this image and we're going to bring it into Illustrator.